While enjoying a seemingly ordinary day at the local beach, Peter, a curious bystander, was startled by a bizarre sound emanating from a nearby puddle. Lifeguard Gary's eyes widened as he watched a man dive headfirst into a hole in the ground. He jumped up from his chair, ready to give the man CPR after he would have most likely hit his head on the rocks. But that wasn't necessary. Gary almost couldn't believe it, but the man actually disappeared into the hole. As he felt around in the water, he realized the man wasn't within arm's reach. Gary had no idea what he could possibly find underneath the water's surface. Was he really going to risk his life for a man who was probably already dead? Peter and his family would often go to the beach on hot summer days. His daughter loved to play in the sand, and his wife, coincidentally, loved lying on the beach to improve her tan. When Peter and his family arrived at the beach, they realized that their usual spot was very crowded. So they decided to walk a little further and find a spot that was a bit more relaxed. As he walked to the sea, he noticed a big puddle. He didn't think much of it, as it wasn't very unusual to see a puddle at the beach. That's the puddle seemed deeper than a normal puddle. Peter stopped and stared at it for a little bit. That was when he realized it was more a big hole in the ground. When he wanted to walk away, Peter suddenly heard something. He couldn't quite place what it was, so he looked around to see where it was coming from. Strangely enough, it didn't seem like anyone else was hearing the sound, it was only Peter. Could it be coming from the hole in the ground, Peter thought? Yet ignoring his wife's skepticism, Peter determined to discover its secrets. He barely noticed Gary's vigilant gaze from the distance. Lifeguard was used to monitoring the beach, but this situation seemed out of the ordinary. Peter, fueled by curiosity, reached the hole, now more intrigued than ever. With a few brisk strides, he launched himself into the air, aiming straight for the hole. His body sliced through the water, disappearing from sight in an instant. Onlookers gasped, their attention now riveted on the spot where Peter had vanished. From his lifeguard post, Gary witnessed Peter's bold move. He sprang from his chair, instincts kicking in. Gary's eyes were glued to the puddle, expecting Peter to emerge any second, gasping for air. But as time passed, the realization dawned that this was no simple swim. Gary's heart sank as he realized the gravity of the situation. Peter was nowhere to be seen, swallowed by the mysterious waters. Kneeling by the water, Gary reached deep into the hole, hoping to grasp anything that might belong to Peter. Beachgoers gathered out around, their murmurs growing louder. Suddenly, Victoria's voice cut through the beach's buzz, desperate and sharp. "Peter," she called, her tone escalating as she searched frantically. Spotting Gary by the water, she rushed over, hope flickering in her eyes. "Have you seen Peter?" The beach, once a place of joy, had turned into a scene of fear and confusion. Gary's description of the man's dive left no room for doubt. Victoria's heart sank as she recognized the reckless curiosity that had led Peter into danger. In the midst of escalating fear and confusion, a faint sound emerged from the hole, momentarily silencing the crowd. Gary and Victoria paused, their attention snapping to the source. Seizing the moment of hope, Gary quickly donned his diving gear, every movement deliberate. Before diving, Gary turned to Victoria, explaining how vital the rope was for the rescue. He showed her how to hold it, ensuring she felt confident in her role. Victoria's grip on the rope tightened, her focus unwavering, as she became the anchor in this daring rescue. Submerged in the chilling darkness, Gary activated his flashlight, casting a beam into the expansive underwater cave. The light revealed the cave's eerie beauty, walls glistening with mineral deposits. Gary hesitated briefly, the dim light in white in one direction, the faint sound in another. He chose the sound, pushing deeper into the cave's depths. His decision was driven by a gut feeling, the hope that the sound might lead him to Peter. The underwater cave's silence was profound, broken only by the sound of Gary's regulated breathing and the distant, enticing sound. Following the sound, Gary stumbled upon a sight that flooded him with relief. Peter, miraculously alive, huddled within an air pocket. Gary approached Peter, quickly sharing his oxygen. This gesture was more than just a lifeline, it was a promise of hope, a chance for survival. In that moment, amidst the uncertainty and danger, they shared a bond of mutual determination to survive. Together, Gary and Peter began their cautious journey back to the hole's entrance, the rope guiding their return. The anticipation of those waiting above fueled their determination. As Gary and Peter broke the surface, the crowd erupted into applause, tears mixing with smiles around them. The beach, once tense with fear, was now alive with relief and joy. Gary's thoughts lingered on the unresolved mystery of the sound that had led him to Peter. As Gary disappeared beneath the water once more, Peter remained vigilant, the rope his only connection to the man venturing back into the unknown. The deeper Gary went, the more pronounced the mysterious flapping sound became. It seemed to be guiding him, a beacon in the pitch darkness of the underwater cave. Suddenly, the source of the sound became visible. A massive shadow loomed in the water ahead, its size and shape revealing the enormity of the creature. The beam of light finally landed on the creature, revealing a dolphin caught in an unexpected predicament. Its size and the fact it was trapped here, of all places, took Gary aback yet stirred a deep empathy within him. Gary's final swim towards the dolphin solidified the bond they had formed under such extraordinary circumstances. As he approached, the dolphin seemed to recognize his intent, remaining calm. Gagging at the rope's end, Peter stood ready, understanding the critical nature of his role. He watched the surface intently, waiting for Gary's signal to start pulling. The dolphin, finally freed from the rocks that had trapped it, surged forward. It was a moment of pure triumph, the culmination of their hard work and dedication. The beach erupted into cheers, witnessing the successful conclusion of a daring rescue.